What is the Law of One? Why is it so key to ushering in a new golden age? And who devised it, and why? Stay tuned, because the answers are up next. Welcome to Bend the Spoon. I'm Chad. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a favorite subject of many viewers, the Law of One. Most people have heard of it, but few people know what it really is. In this Law of One video, I'm trimming the fat and giving you only the meat on this fascinating subject. So let's begin. The Law of One is a very unusual source of knowledge that consists of 5 books. These books were obtained by intuitive means between the years 1981 and 1983. The Law of One series consists of 106 dialogues between a credentialed physics professor, Dr. Don Elkins, and a super advanced alien race, collectively called Ra. The voice of Ra was spoken through and channeled by Don's companion, Carla Rueckert, while she was in a trance state. A third person was always present during the channelings. That person was Jim McCarty, who served as the scribe and transcriber of all the recordings. However, Carla's companion, Don, was the only person who interviewed Ra. By the way, when I refer to Ra, I'll just use the pronoun he for the sake of simplicity and clarity. Ra explained at one time in the distant past, he was like humans on Earth, but since merged into a single unified consciousness. Ra also explained that he resides in a higher density and is also a member of a larger organization working in service to the one infinite creator. Most would refer to this creator as God. Apparently, this larger organization is responsible for guiding and managing the collective evolution of Earth and many other planets in the galaxy. Its goal is to make us aware of our true identity. And what true identity would that be? This was defined by Ra in the very first session. He said the following, which applies to all of us. You are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity. You are infinity. You are love and light, light and love. You are. This is the Law of One. So you can see by this definition that Ra is saying that the entire universe and every being in it is all part of this one great consciousness, hence the name of the books. You might be wondering why then we all seem separate. I would answer that our separation is simply an illusion. This illusion was created on purpose and allows the one to experience itself in a myriad of different ways. The one infinite creator chose this option because it simply wanted to explore this possibility. This individual freedom of expression allows for an infinitely greater range of choice and a much richer and varied experience for the one. To do this, the creator had to veil the subconscious from the conscious mind and give us all free will. And free will is the most important universal law. It must be upheld for this living universe to operate as it does, or else it would just be a mindless program that is fairly meaningless. It's significant to point out that the subconscious mind is aware of our unity with all that is. If we were consciously aware of that unity, not just at the intellectual level, but in our hearts, we would have no need to seek a path back to the Creator. And that is precisely what this whole system is. It's akin to a vast and intricate game where we begin at first density and move our way up to 8th density, ultimately merging back with the Creator only to eventually begin again. Some of you might be wondering, if we already are the Creator, why do we have to choose a path back? According to Ra, it's a matter of becoming more and more of that which we already are. As each of us makes choices on our journey back, the Creator learns about and experiences itself. We essentially have only 2 choices back: service to self and service to others, at least up to 6th density. At some point, we all must choose one of these 2 paths. I don't want to get into the details of both paths now, just be aware that we have 75,000 years to choose. if you have individually not chosen in that time, you will be forced to reincarnate on other third density planets and not graduate onto fourth density. More about this later. One of the major themes of the Law of One is, of course, that we are all one consciousness and are all a part of the one infinite creator. This really doesn't sink in until you spend a few minutes to think about it. Ra says that everyone on Earth is ultimately sharing the same mind, and much more so than we would dare to believe. I believe this to be true as well, and it has been scientifically proven. This is evident in some experiments, where a few thousand people meditating over a short time could affect the behavior of the entire world for a small period. One such experiment was carried out where 7,000 people meditating were able to reduce worldwide suffering in the way of war, crimes, fatalities, and economic depression by an incredible 72%. This study was accepted and published in the Journal of Offender Rehabilitation, and by 1993, 50 different scientific studies had shown the same effect in meditating groups over the prior 30 years. For more information on this, check out Chapter 2 of The Synchronicity Key by David Wilcock. We're also told that the universe is just one mind, and there is only one true identity. Each of us, in fact, according to the Law of One, is a perfectly formed, holographic reflection of the one infinite creator. The Law of One teaches that both space and time are illusions, created only for the evolution of consciousness. Now, if you follow my work, you know I'm a proponent of Tom Campbell's MBT, which stands for My Big Theory of Everything. I talk a lot about it in my videos. The Law of One sounds very similar to MBT so far, doesn't it? Which proposes that the universe is a computed simulation. And it's interesting how neither the Law of One or MBT are very popular, at least in mainstream society. In fact, I'd be willing to give you 10-to-1 odds that your average person has never heard of either. One of the reasons the Law of One never gained much popularity, even in New Age circles, is due to the complexity of the material. Unfortunately, the Law of One material is a bit complicated to understand, especially if you have a conventional mindset and are not open to the types of ideas presented by Ra. And if you decide to read the Law of One, which I recommend you do, you'll probably find yourself rereading the same passage multiple times, trying to figure out what Ra is saying. Not all passages are like that, but there are many which are. Fortunately, there are some books and websites that help interpret the work. That's the point of this video as well. Incidentally, in the event you believe the Law of One to be a fraud, not even the channeler herself, Carla, could really understand all the material, at least initially. The way Ra speaks is not at all how Carla spoke, and she would have to be an absolute genius to improvise all the information while lying on a couch with closed eyes, even if she was fully conscious. Another reason for the Law of One's lack of popularity could be that as much as 80% of the information in it is philosophical and cannot be proven. However, there is also a large body of scientific data that supports its basic principles. Much of this science is written about in the books of David Wilcock. To continue on, the Law of One teaches us not to think of ourselves as flesh beings on a planet detached from all other physical beings in the universe. This also makes us feel quite disconnected from spirit. Instead, we are fundamentally integrated with the universe, and being that we are part of everything, our history and timeline are moving in sequence to the universe. The Law of One proposes this is a cyclical manner, not a linear one. If you study New Age long enough, you'll come across the idea of the 25,000-year cycle that is driving human evolution. This is so because each star and each galaxy has its own personality. Yes, stars, planets, and galaxies are fully conscious beings too, just in a slightly different way than us. And when our planet moves through different parts of the galaxy, the thoughts of these celestial objects can influence our own. This is the basis of astrology, and is the cause for almost all the major changes that have occurred on our planet. If you look at our galaxy, it can be divided up into 12 zones, which have become the 12 signs of the zodiac. As we pass through each zone, a different aspect of the galaxy influences our planet. According to the Law of One, these patterns are written into the mind of the galaxy and referred to as the Logos. At this point, I should make you aware that the Law of One talks extensively about the universe being 8 densities deep. I won't go into all the specifics of the densities, as there have been many good videos made about that. In the future, I may throw my hat into the ring and make a video as well. Only time will tell. In case I didn't make it clear before, we on Earth are 3rd density beings. This is neither good or bad. It's just our present state of evolution. According to the Law of One, all consciousness begins at 1st density and moves up to 7th density over a period of millions of years. Somewhere between the 7th and 8th density is the infinite creator itself. We here on 3rd density will spend an average of 75,000 years living in different bodies and reincarnating over and over until our lessons are learned, before moving on to 4th density. According to Ra, humanity as a whole will soon make a transition to 4th density, which is apparently 100 times more harmonious than our current 3rd density existence. The end of a 25,000-year cycle can apparently be a catalyst for this change, and December 31st of 2012 was just such the end of one of those cycles. At that time, we moved from the age of Pisces into Aquarius. According to Ra, the move to 4th density, which he calls the harvest, was set to begin in the year 2011, but could also be as far as 700 years into the future as well. This means we are in a current period where the harvest is imminent. However, looking at the state of the world in the last year, it certainly doesn't feel like humanity is ready or will be anytime soon. I want to talk more about the harvest, since the whole Law of One series is built around that concept. Ra gives us the impression that this will definitely be a worldwide event. However, I'm not certain if those who have not chosen one of the 2 paths, service to self or service to others, will be included or not. It does not seem so. It's interesting to note that many ancient prophecies predicted something like the harvest to happen as well. They called it the Golden Age and referred to the beings of this age as the Golden Race. These ancient prophecies believe the earth will be freed from never-ceasing fear. The humans who graduate will receive the vaulted rainbow body that only a small percentage of spiritual masters have thus far been able to obtain. This will give us unprecedented powers and allow us to ascend to 4th density. Additionally, non-human beings, which some refer to as ETs, will commingle with us at that time. The Law of One actually speaks liberally about ETs. Ra tells us they were always present in our history, all the way back to the beginning. Their purpose, according to Ra, was and is to help humanity graduate 3rd density by achieving harvest. Remember, all this information came in the early 1980s. When Ra was asked when Earth will become a 4th density planet, he said in approximately 30 years. That would put the date at 2011, very near the 2012 end times date. Of course, this didn't mean the end of our world, but the beginning of a new age. And it is the age of Aquarius. This coincides with the Mayan prophecy and calendar as well. However, as I said before, the harvest could occur as far as 700 years from now. Ra also said the transition to 4th density has not been easy for us. Listen to this exchange between Don and Ra. Don, what is the position of this planet with respect to progression of the cycle at this time? Ra, this sphere, meaning Earth, is at this time in 4th dimension vibration. Its material is quite confused due to the society memory complexes embedded in its consciousness. It has not made an easy transition to the vibrations which beckon. Therefore, it will be fetched with some inconvenience. When Don asked if it's possible to estimate what percentage of the population will inhabit the fourth density planet, Ra responded by saying the harvesting is not yet, thus estimation is meaningless. The Law of One series never got more specific than that, though it did say that our evolution runs in 25,000 year cycles. 2 cycles ago, or 50,000 years ago, the latest rendition of modern man made its appearance, and it's no coincidence. Ra said the 25,000 year cycle is the basic pattern that governs the evolution of all third density life on any given planet in our galaxy. To quote Ra, he says, "One major cycle is approximately 25,000 of your years. There are 3 cycles of this nature during which those who have progressed may be harvested at the end of 3 major cycles. That is approximately between 75 and 76,000 of your years. All are harvested regardless of their progress, for during that time the planet itself has moved through the useful part of that dimension and begins to cease being useful for the lower levels of vibration within that density." And by density, Ra is referring to the third, which is our own. In the Law of One model, there are literally millions of planets with human-like beings on them in our Milky Way galaxy alone. Each planet is very carefully watched over and guided by beings in higher densities of existence. The same is true for Earth, and the humans on these planets are not expected to remain third density, flesh and blood biological beings forever. The universe is literally designed to promote our evolution into ascension at fixed intervals of time that coincide in 25,000 year cycles. Every third density planet will ultimately transition to fourth density. This is wonderful news and means that all will eventually graduate to the next density up, whether it be in this lifetime, the next, or the one after that. It depends on universal factors that are basically beyond our control. All we can do now is pick a path, service to self or service to others. Remain at least 51% pure in thought and good in our actions, and it will virtually guarantee our arrival. If you want me to make a video talking specifically about this or other topics on the Law of One, please let me know in the comments section. As we venture towards the conclusion of this video, I'll leave off with Ra explaining what fourth density consciousness is like, as I'm sure you are curious. There are no words for positively describing fourth density. We can only explain what is not and approximate what is. Beyond fourth density, our ability grows more limited still, until we become without words. That which fourth density is not. It is not of words, unless chosen. It is not of heavy chemical vehicles for body complex activities. It is not of disharmony within self. It is not of disharmony within peoples. It is not within limits of possibility to cause disharmony in any way. Our transition into a golden age and fourth density may continue to be a gradual process. We may never see evidence for it in our lifetime, but it does not mean it won't happen. If history repeats itself, and it always does, the harvest will happen sooner or later. Until that time, we need to stay steadfast in our resolve to become better versions of ourselves and be more loving and forgiving to those around us. The message of the Law of One from Ra is a gift, and for those open to its message, it offers a certain sense of faith that the universe and the one infinite creator are always working for the good of everyone and everything in existence. Well, thank you for watching this Law of One video in its entirety. Please subscribe for more awesome spiritual content and click the notification bell. I will be posting more Law of One videos in the near future, so stay tuned to Bend the Spoon. If you want to see more content from me, check out my other channel called Open Your Reality. I have over 170 videos on the channel that span back 2 years. Alright, please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video coming soon.